Welcome back to another episode of Coach's Corner. We've had a busy couple of weeks out there. Saturday we're out at Diamante's in New York City with John Scully and the boxing reunion. Really great cause. But here we're back today. We got the big guys in the house today. Heavyweight division, top-ranked fighter, Cassius Chaney.
Franklin, all good stages of kind of
different stages.
Yeah,
of boxing
I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Okay, I know what to do. And they all had different styles. And after I lost to Jermaine Franklin in the Golden Gloves, like semis or quarters, I was like, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win out. I know how to do it now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been to the national tournaments, right? And fighting 4 times in a week. I wasn't icing. I was by myself basically, so I just was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the next fight and win this one. Yeah. And then it hit me in Jermaine's fight, like, yo, I've been fighting and I just ain't feel right, you know? And
no, it's all preparation. I mean, you're fighting. If you keep winning, you keep fighting. There's 4 or 5 fights.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're not taking care of yourself after the fights, that recovery, it's tough, man, because you're under the spotlight. You're fighting the best in the country right there, and everybody's looking to make a name for themselves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for a heavyweight, you got dumped pretty deep, fast.
Yeah.
I mean, with a lot of names out there that you fought, and you're fighting in a national tournament. What was the decision to go pro? When did that come about?
I was with Peter Manfredo at that time, who was a really good trainer.
The father was trainer.
The father, senior, yeah. So he had Toka Khan in there.
Yeah.
Thomas Followo, me. It was somebody else that was coming through, and he was training. I'm sure Alvin Ayala was coming through here and there. And this was in Narragansett, so I was...
So you're going from New London
to Narragansett.
To Narragansett to train with them, yeah.
Every day, like an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30. I don't want to do that no more. That's why it tripped me out, too, that you was bringing your fighters all the way up to London. I was like...
Yeah, but you know what? Look, you know as a heavyweight right now, you up in New London, okay? And you're working with certain guys. Guys come to work with you. You're always very gracious about, you know, if you're in camp, if you're training, and you make time for us. But you got to go where the game is.
Yeah.
To get better, like you fighting big time fighters, man. You're not fighting. You got to go where the game is, or you've been in camp. You go away.
Yeah.
You know, you've been in camp with a lot of, Usyk, a lot of big time fighters out there. You know, you've gotten away because there's not enough people in our backyard.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know, there's not enough people in our backyard to make our fighters better. So, Manfredo was your first trainer? Did he take you pro, or did you?
Yeah, he took me. Yeah, he took me pro.
He took you pro.
Yeah, I started with him, and he had like 4 or 5 guys that was already pro, and I got in line with a manager from New Haven. I think he started with Chad actually, Alan Hadelman, and he a good dude, but him and Pete didn't see eye to eye. So that's that's how that snowballed a little bit, and then it went from Peter to I want to say John David Jackson, or.
Were you training with him in Florida, or were you training? He wasn't training.
I had to go down there to Florida to start to kind of
like
start, and then that was a whole thing. John was cool, like it wasn't really.
John David Jackson was trainer. Cool. I mean, he's an animated personality.
Yeah. He's cool. Like it's hard to say. I think like throughout that time too, he had Kovalev. It was a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot going on with that, and I think I just got not thrown in there, but it was a little bit like, damn.
Yeah, he's gonna give you. He's gonna give you what he can give you.
Yeah,
in time.
Exactly.
He's getting Kovalev ready for
and he
big
had Curtis
fights.
Stevens. So
he had Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt too. So Kurt was cool. Everybody was cool. It was just like one of them situations where I'm green too, and you know what I mean. Like he got fighters that's already been doing it.
Right.
They know what They kind of know what they want and everything. I was kind of like, yo, I don't know.
Yeah. You're the first big camp, right? You're in there with a lot of big guys.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oxnard, that's where we was. We was in Oxnard,
you were in California.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're finding your way.
Yeah. That's when I first saw. Actually, Lomachenko was there, and that's when I first saw Usyk. And when he first arrived, I was like, dang, he kind of small. Now you see him, he's like a heavyweight kind of. But I remember when he first got there, and this is something I always think about. I said, is he sparring? When is he sparring? Like, is he sparring this week? And then Cecilio, the conditioner coach, he goes like, nah, he ain't sparring yet. He just got off a flight. He got to get acclimated, but he's not sparring for a couple of weeks, basically. Mm-hmm. And I thought like, wow, they making sure that he taken care of. They're not just throwing him in there to go spar anybody right now.
No, there's a plan.
Yeah, it's a plan.
There's a plan of what they're doing. Now,
wow,
you were
okay.
in camp for him. Which fight was it? 2 fights ago, right?
He was getting ready to fight Dubois, I think.
Dubois.
Yeah.
How was that camp?
Different. The way different. From Fury, like, to Us's camp is different. Like, the structure that they got going on is more like, they cool. Like, everybody's cool. They gonna say what's up.
Yep.
But it's about him.
Yeah.
It ain't about you getting there and being sharp and you working pads and none of that. It's about you having enough to spar and being already in shape to give them enough rounds to spar.
Yeah.
But it ain't none of that like, oh, you ain't spar good today and then you gonna get pad work to be sharp the next day.
No.
Nah. They don't want you too sharp. And those are things that you learn, like, when you go to certain camps. Fury camp was different. They don't care if you spar the next day with somebody. You know what I mean? As long as you ain't getting hurt.
It was like that in Deontay's camp. At the beginning of the camp, there was no sparring other than with him. As the camp broke down, they let you spar with the other fighters. And, I was there. Obviously, I was able to, do work with Joey and they didn't care about that. But,
Right.
Your job was to make sure you're healthy.
To spar. Right. And that's another thing. So they let you come. They let the trainer come with them.
Yeah. I mean, I've been blessed. I mean, even in the Sanchez camp, they were like, yeah, sure, come. And I think, you go to camp, you're out there by yourself with other fighters, man. You out there, you're not, and you want to work, man, because you're in the camp, right? You're in there with the best guys. You're seeing everything going on, right? And, I think if you're going to be in that camp for 6 to 8 weeks, if you could have a trainer or somebody there, like when it was time to spar, we sparred. We did our work after the sparring.
Right.
Like, if we stayed in the gym, taking an Uber back, whatever the case, days we weren't sparring, we go to the gym, do our conditioning, do our road work, do everything else, just like we was training back home.
Right.
And
that's the way to do it.
They were pretty cool.
Right.
And then the best bet is you hope to get a fight coming out of a camp.
Right.
And sneak up on somebody.
Right. That's the best way to do it, I think. Like, but you gotta have a trainer that's open-minded to doing that with you and things like that. I don't think I've ever gone. No, I haven't ever gone to a camp and I had somebody there with me.
Yeah.
So I'm like freestyling, and then you kind of get like, I'll be honest, I get a little bored. I'm like, man.
Because look, there's a lot of downtime. I mean, the Sanchez camp, we all lived together. So Frank lived with us, right? So
he stayed with us.
We eating, right? Yeah. We're eating. We're doing. We're going. They're going to do conditioning, and we're riding with them. They had their strength and conditioning coaches. They did whatever they did, and we did what we did. But it was like a little family type thing, and then everybody breaks off and do their own thing after their training to relax or whatever they do to bring it down. But you get to see. And then you get to see some of these other trainers out there, what they're doing, what they're working on. And I think as a fighter, you're being exposed to that, and you say to yourself, man, I deserve to be in the top 10. I deserve to be in the top 5. I'm out here, you know what, for that little glimpse, if you touch a fighter and you get him, you say, yeah, if I was really ready and putting it on and it wasn't his camp, I could really expose him a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that gives you confidence as a fighter.
100%. Just for me, it's weird, like, going to these camps by myself and being able to be a professional. It's been, like, one of those things where I'm like, I know my talent belongs with them, right? And then you still searching for, like, a little bit of, like, dang, they got organization. Look, he got his team. And then you get a little bit, for me, you get a little bit jealous, like, nah, I got to go back. I got to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, organization is the key. I mean, I'm blessed. AJ, we work, we do camp, we sit down. We got our strength, we got everything. We put it down in the book each day, what's going on, what we're working on, strength and conditioning, how many rounds we're going to be sparring, depending on this, that, and the other thing, who we're fighting. Everything is organized. And I don't think, look, you're an athlete, man. You played basketball. You guys sat and watched tape. You had different coaches. You didn't have just one coach. You had 5 coaches, right? They come in there and they're talking, they're breaking down defense, offense. Why can't boxing be like that? the better fighters have all of that.
Yeah.
They have a team.
Yeah.
It's not the days of one trainer are over.
Yeah, I hate that. And that's part of my issue. That's part of my issue right now. It's just I'm like I feel like this. Like if you going to pay a trainer, if you paying your team, paying your trainer 10%, that trainer has to be like you paying them 10%. You paying them a lot of money. Like yo, if I'm paying you over $10,000, or if I'm paying you thousands of dollars, period, you gotta like be on point.
Yeah.
Like you want me to be on point, so you should have everything in order. So when we get to the gym, I'm not the one giving the ideas. Why should I be sitting there giving the ideas? Like,
well, see, the other thing is that comes into play. I've been fortunate because we get to live with our fighters. Mm-hmm. So at night we're talking up what we're going to do tomorrow. We have one day that we sit down and review the week. So everything is organized, right? We're going to get to the gym. Because, look, we don't want to waste time. We got 2 hours, 2.5 hours. There's no wasted time. You get to the gym, you're right. Everything's got to be organized. If the fighter's not staying with you and he comes in, his gear's ready to go, listen, we're starting practice at 10. Your ass better be ready at 10 because we're going at 10. Not get into the gym at 10, get dressed and do all your bullshit and everything else because now we have time to go. And then what's the plan? Come on, man. Like, and I don't think, and I'm not going to disrespect anybody, and I'm not saying everything. There are a lot of people out there that love boxing, that train fighters. Doesn't make them a good trainer just because they love boxing, And there are a lot of big-time trainers who might not be good trainers for everybody. But you got to do your job. You got to be able to have organization. That fighter's got to believe in you. If that fighter has a little bit of doubt, right? A little bit of doubt, you're fucked. Mm-hmm. That camp is fucked.
Yeah.
It's like thinking your girl's cheating on you. Even though she's not, in your mind, your mind is playing games. Now you're like, oh, man, I'm not feeling sure of myself. But if that trainer and that team, and I say team because you know what? More eyes are better. It's not, you know what? I work with different guys and I'm blessed and I'm like, what are you seeing? That maybe I'm missing something in the fight. Maybe you're hearing the other trainer. I mean, I worked a fight where the assistant cornerman, the fighter was listening to him more. His voice was carrying. I'm like, yo, just take it. Mm-hmm. And I would just say what I had to say to him and just give the instruction from there.
All right.
Because he was vibing with him, and like, I think trainers have too much ego.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like a fighter. Yeah, everything you're saying. I just feel like a fighter should not have to go out and then put this piece together, put that piece together, put that piece together. If you're the head trainer, you should have your team that you're comfortable with. Of course, the fighter got to be comfortable too, but at least you believe in that team. So when they giving you advice, you trust it, right? So like you just said, you let the assistant kind of take the lead, but it's hard to do that sometimes because like some guys be stubborn.
The fighter's job is not to come up with the plan for the fight. Mm-hmm. The fighter could put input in because you got to sit down and say, hey, what do you think? This is the way we're going to attack this fight. Yeah, all right, I feel good about this, Then what's plan B? What's plan C? What's plan D afterwards after that? Because sometimes, you come back to the corner and you're like, we're working on the right hand, and then that right hand ain't finding them, man. What are we going to do? We could be asking for it all night long, and you got to come back to the corner and say, hey, coach, I can't find it. Okay, let's go to plan B. Mm-hmm. Let's figure it out. But, breaking down a fight, like the plan should be, I don't know, for me, I like to watch tape a real lot of tape. And today it's a lot easier because years ago you had to have VCA, those things.
Yeah,
VCR, right?
Yeah, VCR,
so you're lucky if you were able to get tape on a lot of fighters, Right. Now you just go on YouTube, whatever the case, and you find that you're sitting on your phone and you watch tape. So it's easy for us as coaches to say, okay, they want to offer us Joe whatever. Okay, let's take a look at him. Yeah, I like that. That's a good style fight for you. Mm-hmm. You know what? Yeah, we could work with that. What do you think? What do you see? Right? Because now you're the guy going in. So you got to be able to tell your coach what you see sometimes. Then you look at a fight and say, no, that's not the fight for you. Look at that guy. We don't like that style. But definitely be a plan there, going forward.
Right.
But, you've been knocking on the door now.
Yeah.
You're knocking on the door. I mean, with the exception of Michael Hunter, you fought George Arias, tough style.
Yeah.
Tough style.
It's worse, too. That George Arias fight. So the Michael Hunter fight and the George Arias fight, right? Two different type of guys. The George Arias fight was at a time where, like, I had an injury, and it was like a toss-up. Like, do I do it? Do I not? And that's where I felt like, that was probably like my first moment being introduced to, like, the boxing, like, how boxing can be. Like, for real, you know?
The business end of it.
Yeah, the doctor was on the phone with us, and he said, Cassius, I'm saying this in front of you and your entire team. I wouldn't take the fight with the injury you have, but it's your career. I can't tell you what to do. The man in me was like, I know, but the fighter in my mind was like, I can launch one, I can catch him with one.
Yeah, you were definitely a bigger fighter than him and everything else, but mobility-wise,
yeah.
I mean, we sparred with George. George just all over the place. He awkward as hell.
He awkward. Now that I've been in the ring with him,
yes,
it would be a totally different. I would just go right at him, a totally different.
Yeah, and still your power on him and walk his ass down.
That's it. That's all I would do. But
get him on the ropes.
That's all at that time.
Yeah,
I had awkward. I had Joey DeWaco sparring for him.
That's not the sparring.
That's not even close to the style that I needed to spar for that fight, and that's what I'm saying. I learned the business.
Yeah.
And like for me, I'm the first generation fighter. Like probably me and my brother, first generation student athletes. So we're learning as we grow for the next generation, right? So little stuff like that I'm just like, all right, I went through it. Two different styles. They small guys. And you got to prepare for that. If you don't got, back to what you were saying, if you don't got a situation where it's a team situation, the little slightest thing, I'm looking at like, yo, can you come help? Can you work the corner? Yo, can you work the corner? That's me making those calls. Yeah. Meanwhile, that's what I had to do because I didn't have my trainer didn't have the pieces, so I had to do it too. You know what I'm saying? So when I look back at the Michael Hunter fight from when you asked me, I think I was just too passive.
Did you train at home for that fight?
Yes. Yeah. And I was just too passive, like frustrated a little bit, and I was just like,
were you passive because you're coming off of the fight with Trevor Bryan? And it was a brutal knockout. For people that didn't see that night, they should go back and watch that fight because you rocked his world. Yeah. And then, no disrespect to Trevor, you just crushed him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was your first fight with Don King, right?
Yeah.
You made a statement.
Yeah. It was fresh. It was frustrating too because like you come off when I kind of know him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He got two daughters. And I wasn't sure if he was going to walk.
You guys worked together, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, hey, you want to go? But then, it died down, like, so I didn't know what was going. We didn't know who I was going to fight. The Bacoli thing came up. So it was just frustrating, like, not knowing what's going to happen, personal stuff. And then just behind the scenes, as you know, the whole, this opponent, that opponent, this much money, and you got in your mind, like, I'm like, I'll say it, $350 for Bacoli. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, yo, I can chill. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're good for a while. You can sit back and you know what? But you know what I'm saying? Right. And it's and that's the other thing. Like people don't realize fighters. I talk about this all the time with a lot of people. You out there fighting some fights, they're not a lot of money when you really break it down at the end of the day.
Nah, it's not.
And
it's not.
If you're fighting and you're not working, look, you got family. You got 2 kids. You out there, fighting maybe 2-3 times a year right now. It's got to be worth it. You're carrying a lot of things. in your personal life. Fights got to make sense and money-wise and everything else. So, yeah, you get a big opportunity for a nice payday that can carry you over.
And my confidence was high.
Yeah.
Too. I'm coming off a nice knockout. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm in shape. The only thing I got to do is find proper sparring and piggyback off the camp, that I just had. And then, like I said, a little passive in the sense that I saw the disinterest that was happening with the trainer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I only can tell him what's going on. Like he's not on the calls with me and things like that. So it's the disinterest, I think, a little bit. And I was a little passive in that, where I was just like, okay, I can still figure it out.
Yeah, you're already this deep, and right now to make a major change is not what you really wanted to do at that point. You figured, all right, I'll carry it to the finish line.
Yeah, exactly.
For now.
Like DK and them, Don and them, they sent me down with Larry Holmes for like a week, 2 weeks.
Right.
And I'm like, this ain't the time for me to make this type of move. Like, how am I come down to Easton? I don't know nothing in Easton. You know what I'm saying? And Larry and them was super hospitable as far as like a pro atmosphere and things like that. But I'm like, I'm just coming off a knockout, and now I'm in a hotel I'm gonna have a whole camp in a hotel. Like, come on, I gotta be able to cook. Like, can't eat out every night.
Who was gonna train you, Larry or his people?
He had like a longtime buddy that was kind of, but they like the same age. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that would have been like, it wasn't the right time for me to be going down there coming off a win that I just had. But again, I just think I was like in the camp with Michael Hunter. I was definitely a lot of frustrated, but I was just too passive. Like, and he a good fighter, so it's not like I'm fighting somebody that's
Michael was a tough fight. Had something to prove. Both, look, he wants to step up. He wants to make a name for himself like you, and it was a fight that had meaning. And look, it is what it is. You're still in a good position. You got 23 wins. Mm-hmm. What do you got? 16, 17 knockouts. Mm-hmm. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. No, I look at it like...
And you know what? You got to look at it like this. In the heavyweight division, you haven't really been banged up like some of these other fighters. You know what I mean? Knock on wood. So you know what? Your longevity is there. And right now, I mean, it's a little tough right now because everything's going overseas.
Yeah.
Like, you look in that top 10 division, and it's like, are we going to see heavyweights in the United States again or what? Everybody's fighting overseas. You got, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Sheik, all the major players going over there. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting how things shake out in this division. I mean, would we have Jarrell fight Andy Ruiz last week?
Yeah.
Kind of a meaningless fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Because really, where are they going?
I mean, unless the Sheik says the winner of those two fights fight the winner of the Jared Anderson fight and the Big Baby fight each other. I mean, as long as they...
Well, now that Jared Anderson lost, that could become a possibility.
Right.
Put Jarrell Miller against Jared Anderson. That could sell a ticket.
Yeah, I don't see them doing another Jarrell Miller Andy Ruiz fight again.
No.
But I could see Jarrell Miller Bacoli, somebody like that. Because look, the belts are tied up, right? Because they looking at Joshua Dubois. Joshua is likely to be the favorite to win, right?
You know what? I think Joshua. Yeah, listen. Dubois got a little momentum.
Yeah, but Joshua do too.
Yeah,
coming off a knockout, mental, they both do. Yeah, they both do.
I just think the size factor with the Joshua to Dubois. If Joshua don't use his size and his strength against Dubois, I think he'll make it a tough fight for himself. But I don't know. I mean, you got Joe Parker making a name for himself out there again.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He probably as far as coming back and showing that, look, just a slight change too, because he changed trainers. Then you got Joshua and Dubois, they both switched trainers, and they look different. They got different type of confidence, you know. So it's I think sometimes a lot of times too, a good change is good.
Listen, I think sometimes, you know what? As you get older in the fight game, you become a little wiser, and you know what? You gotta have some fresh ideas. Look, professional teams change coaches all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. But you know what? You got to look at yourself, it's your career, and say, what's going to help me here? Mm-hmm. But you ever work with Joshua?
Nah. I got asked for the Joshua and Dubois, and I haven't worked with either one of them yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm sure they're going to give me a ring. You went to Joshua's camp before?
No.
No?
No, not to Joshua's camp. No.
Nah. My buddy, Jeremiah Milton.
Yeah.
That's my guy. He said he worked with Dubois. He was like, man, it's like a fight. From sparring is like a fight the whole entire time.
Yeah, he's aggressive.
I was like, damn.
He's aggressive. He's very, and he's got confidence right now.
Yeah.
So you know what? But I don't know. I don't know. So you've been with Fury, Usyk.
Yeah, Usyk, Frank Sanchez.
Oh, you were with Frank?
Yeah.
What'd you think of him?
You got to be, he's cool sparring. He's not like.
He's quick.
Yeah, he's quick. He's not really super aggressive. You know what I mean? He's working on whatever he's working on.
Yeah.
That's the
It's
thing
explosive.
I like. Yeah, but you got to be in shape. One thing I learned, period, from the beginning, right now, boom, wherever you go to camp, you got to just be in shape
100%.
already. You don't got time to be living like a regular life and then get a
No.
call and then you think you're going to go to a camp.
No. Not at that level. Like, look, the first day we were with Frank, we sparred 8 rounds. First day.
Yeah.
There was nobody else there. I mean, in that whole week, there was nobody else there.
Right.
And then they brought some people in. But you know what? I was not expecting the outcome in his fight that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I knew something wasn't right, though. The injury, something wrong with his knee, I think.
Yeah.
He had a knee, like a torn.
ACL or
yeah,
meniscus.
Meniscus, something. Like, you could tell something was wrong because he wouldn't throw his right hand, so.
Yeah, he couldn't set on it. But, I mean, he was throwing that right hand and that left hand to the body all through camp. And I was like, man, he should be able to walk through this fight. But he couldn't set.
The business of boxing, right? Whatever injury he had to go in there and still, you know what I'm saying? That's because the fighters most likely, injury or not, failing whatever, the day of the fight, they still gonna go fight because they know they gotta do it.
You're there.
Yeah, you're
Listen, you're an athlete, man. Yeah. Come on, you played basketball at a high level. I'm sure there were games that you didn't feel good. I'm sure there were games you were hurt.
Different, though.
That you taped up and you said, okay, I'm going out there.
Yeah, I played a year injured in college after coming off a, like, crazy freshman year. I was like 19-9 or something as a freshman. And the second year I hurt my foot. I played almost that entire year with the foot injury. But I also I had 4 teammates.
Yeah, so you lay back in the cut.
And I ain't getting knocked out either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Boxing is a little bit like...
Yeah, you're not hiding out there in that ring. That's for damn sure.
And you go a whole camp and you spend almost, $10,000, $20,000 if you having a real camp. You ain't try to go tell your coach or whoever, I can't fight today. Like,
yeah, but that's the competitiveness in fighters as an athlete and everything else. You know what? They're gonna kind of see it through and kind of go through it. But that's what makes a fighter.
Yeah,
right there. And look, you got to respect that. That walking in that ring is not easy. But I want to ask you a little bit about your coaching and your basketball. You do a lot with the kids.
Yeah.
You're out there.
Yeah.
You got the AAU teams and everything else. But
yeah, I had that.
How did you end up in New Haven for college? What other offers did you have?
I fell through the cracks, I guess. But I wasn't patient. I always St. Peter's. I had interest from St. Peter's. I had interest from U-Hart. I had interest from James Madison. Probably was the top 3. But I wasn't patient in that process. I I had in my mind, like, whatever school offers me first, I'm just going to go. Like, I wasn't big into, like, until I saw the college, like, the UConn, Syracuse. I wasn't big into all of that stuff until I saw my teammates in prep school on the big screen. I'm like, dang, like, yo, this is crazy. Like, Paul Harris, that's probably, like, one of the best players I ever seen in high school. He's part of the 5 overtime game, UConn and Syracuse. So see that, I was like, yo, this is like, dang, I need to. But I also knew myself, like, after my freshman year, that would have been a year for me to transfer if I was more mature to do it. I knew I couldn't sit out a year and just practice.
Yeah, now you got the portal. It doesn't matter.
Now I would have been gone. You know what I mean? Like, I can go to I just came off. That's it? I don't got to sit out and just go to class all day? Nah. But then I knew myself. I told my dad, like, yo, I can't just go to class and can't play in the games.
Yeah. No, that's tough. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the kids right now.
Right now, we are. I'm training the kids for boxing. Just some kids just coming in, just wanting to do some exercising, giving them a lot of confidence, and we're gearing up for, possibly my second year as a JV coach at New London High School.
Oh, really? Year. I didn't know that.
Oh, I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, I didn't know you were. I know you coach summer and you coach travel. I didn't realize you were a high school coach. Yeah.
Last year was my first year. We did our thing. We was 18-1, 17-1.
Really?
Yeah, we did our thing in JV. Yeah, varsity's good too. So I'm looking. Last year
they got
was
some
different.
Basketball talent up there in that part of Connecticut.
Yeah, I would say New London probably one of the premier. Chris Dunn is from New London. We had Tyson Wheeler was probably the first person drafted from New London, and then football. I mean, football is loaded.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
is that what you're looking to do after boxing, coach?
I don't know. It's easy. I don't know. I just don't.
What's your style as a coach?
I'm more
as
of
a basketball coach.
I'm more of a believer, like
motivator.
I'm more of a motivated believer, but I don't yell. I don't do all that. I'm more like.
For a big guy, you got a pretty even keel personality.
Yeah, shoot the ball. If you don't shoot it, you're coming out. I want the person that people don't expect to make the team to make a shot because they're going to go the whole week talking about making one shot. So I'm all for it. I'm all for that. I try to play everybody if I can, but I understand, too, it comes times where you trying to win the game.
Yeah, you got to win. At 18-1, I'm sure. But you know what? The game, basketball's changed, right?
Yeah.
It's more of a. I mean, look, I date myself, okay, and look, I went to Mount Vernon High School, so I was very fortunate. When I was in high school, I got to see.
Ben Gordon went there.
Yeah, that was later though, bro.
Yeah, later. Yeah.
When I was in high school, I got to see Sam Perkins, played at Latham, Kenny Smith, Chris Mullen beat us in the state championship. I mean, Ed Pickney, Mike Moses, Berry, all those guys. You go on and on and on. I'm watching them. Like, I'm seeing Boeheim and all these top coaches coming through the gym watching. Yeah. But, I went back to my high school last year because I was working with a couple of the players. Now, back then, it was press and push the ball, right? Push the ball up, fast break, move it. Now these kids push the ball, hit the three.
Shoot the three, yeah.
They pull up. I'm like, Coach, what the heck are they doing?
You have a layup, they're going to shoot a three.
Yeah. They That's come crazy. Down, they have numbers. 3-on-1, the guy's shooting a goddamn three.
Yeah. Yeah. I look at it like, for me, I'd rather get, I don't like the threes in transition so much, especially if you can get a layup, right? But one of my things is like, if we run a play for you, I told one of the kids that he ain't play that much, but if we run a play for you and you get the ball, shoot it. Because if you pass it, you ain't getting it back.
Yeah.
Is
defense overlooked today?
A little bit, but in high school, you gotta play defense. High school, college too, but high school you gotta play defense. It can't be so much.
Zone or man-to-man coach? Or you switch it up?
I switch it up. I'm more of a play the numbers type of guy. Like we got a weak link. We're gonna exploit it. We're gonna exploit that weak link. I'm about that.
Yeah.
I'm about that.
So, if you're fighting, how do you make time? Now, boxing, basketball season's during fighting season, And
I looked up last year because, look, I mean, it was like this. I came off the Trevor fight. That was November 4th. The season didn't start until November 30th, something like that. So I lucked up, but it was one of them things where, hey, if I get an opportunity to fight, then I own it. I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to do it. But I'm pretty cool in the community, so they understand. The school understand. I worked in a school too. I was working at as a sub at the same time. So it was a lot going on that people don't really understand, that like you come off a fight against Trevor Bryant, I ain't make what I was supposed to make for that fight. So I'm
back to work.
I had to go back to work and just
go
wait.
back to work.
So when I hear the Bacoli thing, I'm like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? For a while.
Did they throw your name out with Jared Anderson or no?
Nah, I never. And I think that's part of the reason why I think the Michael Hunter fight happened, and I had to because he was the only one I signed to a promoter.
Yeah. So Don don't work with Bob Arum.
Nah, that's like a long-term feud.
People don't realize the little, like we talked about, the little things in boxing that could.
Yeah, they don't know.
They don't know what's going.
And he was willing to work with Boxer, right? But it was some stuff going on with that too. I hit Bacoli up about it at one point, and he was just like, "Yo, I said yes to it, but we're still waiting to find out." And I'm like, "Dad, I did too. I already done signed the contract and everything, But that's the business of it.
Yeah,
that nobody really understands and really knows. So when people giggle and laugh about a person's like having a struggle or losing, I just find it to be weird. Like I don't even Jared Anderson losing, whoever. I don't talk about that stuff. I ain't laughing at nobody losing.
No, there's a reason.
You know what I'm saying?
Something happened. You can't look at it that way because you know what? Something happened, whatever it was, they'll go back, they'll fix it, and they'll move on. I mean, look,
right.
We talk about this, right? You win fights you're supposed to lose. You lose fights you're supposed to win. Mm-hmm. And shit goes on and on and on and on. But you learn from your losses and stuff. And you know what? Sometimes a loss, humbles you.
Yeah.
But the other thing, like, you know what? And you talked about this a couple minutes ago about, they wanted to send you out to to Larry Holmes in the middle of a camp. And it's like, he switched up trainers and went to Sugar Hill 3 weeks before his fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. I saw that. I thought either way, you got to have a long time to get out of some of the habits that he spoke of in his interview about pulling back and stuff. You got to. They ain't gonna just happen in 3 weeks. You got to kind of like drill that into you, And
look, you got to learn the style of your trainer. Your trainer sees it, but like you said, habits.
Yeah,
habits are there, and they're not going to be, in 3 weeks you ain't changing too much.
Right.
And I think as a trainer, you can't really try to change too much in 3 weeks out of a fight and expect great results.
Right.
But I found that really interesting. So, who would you target now?
You mean the fight?
Throw some names out there.
Ooh, oh man, it's quite a few.
Have you had conversation to fight overseas in Saudi yet?
No, no. I'm gonna be real, not particularly yet because I think people scared to deal with DK like that. You know what I mean? Just he's smart. For 94, the dude is super like sharp. Yeah. Like he's still super sharp. So it ain't much you gonna get by him if you ain't coming like.
Why is he still going in boxing in 94? I mean, he's done so many great things. Promoted so many greatest
boxing
fights.
A drug, man. It's a drug. What I said, it makes the people crazy around you too. Like either they gonna fall in love with you or they gonna be they're gonna be a distraction. But if you get people that fall in love with you, like the way Don got people he could tell them jump out a window. Probably they gonna probably do it because if they get hurt, he gonna take care of them. Don
how did you end up with Don? I remember talking to you a couple of years back, you were looking at making changes in your team on the back end of boxing, and how did it lead you to Don? You know what I mean? Because look, he's no disrespect, he's not what he was years ago as far as the stables of fighters.
I figured like this. I was like, man, I've been with
great name.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, I can go with this. I can do with this one, but you know what? Why not just go with the infamous Don King just to say I did it?
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. Like I can say in.
Did you go
part
for
of my
him
history,
or did he go for you?
Both. Actually, once he's heard my name in the record, they flew me down.
Yeah.
They drove me up to the office, and we sat down, and he just told me stories for like 2 hours, man. By the time you get done hearing all the stories, you just like ready to sign because you just tired.
Yeah.
But he been through a lot, man. Like, given, not defending all the crazy stuff, but he been through a lot of stuff, man. So I was like, you know what? It's part of my history.
Yeah.
I accomplished a lot of stuff. So I was like, let me add this to the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like, look, so who would you target? Throw some names out there.
Who would I target?
Let's put it this way: who's a style right now in the heavyweight that fits you right now?
That's a good question. I don't know, because like, I think if you prepared, I don't see me losing the guys if I'm right, if I'm prepared correctly. But I would say, see, I thought Bacoli, I thought our fight would be a good fight because I was coming off a win. I was like, I already knew who I had in mind for sparring, and I felt like he gives you opportunities to crack him. Now, if it hurt him, I don't know, but he gives you chances.
Honestly, you're a pretty smart fighter and a pretty technical fighter, and you have power. So I think with a Bacoli, you're going to have to wear him down a little bit and catch him and give him some movement.
And my defense, I think I keep my hands up better than,
you do.
than what Jared did. Jared was relying on his athleticism, which I have as well. But I would say...
I think Jared, it was ego after a while that, look, Bacoli cracked him, and he was like, yo, that ain't happening no more.
That was...
And he wanted to come back and say, no, I'm going to put you away.
Yeah. I mean, like, when that was the experience part, right? Remember the second knockdown? And I think in the round they ended it. After he gets dropped, he walks right back to Bacoli.
Straight towards him.
Instead of getting his mind together. Yeah. And I thought that was like, all right, he either pissed off or inexperienced. That was inexperienced because most people take the knee.
He's young, and his ego was bruised a little bit, and you know what? And but look, he's still a very talented guy. But back to you, who's it?
I would say right now, I think a good fight would be like Huey Fury. That would be a nice style for me. I would say George Arias, but I know they probably wouldn't fight me again. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of guys because I'm like 9 or 10 in the U.S.
Yeah. So you know what? Talk about that for a second because look, you're 9 or 10 in college basketball in the country, man. You just, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what? Eventually you got to play the best, right?
Yeah.
But you could be 9 or 10 in boxing, and it's a great position. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the guys above you don't want to take a shot with you. You're dangerous to them. You might not fit what they're looking to do.
Right.
They don't want to take a chance and risk it fighting you. And the guys behind you, it makes no sense for you to fight a guy at 15 or 20.
Right.
Right? And I don't think people understand that. It's like, how do they sit there for so long? Because, guys don't want to take a chance with them.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, and I honestly get tired of like I was saying, I get tired of kind of explaining it to people that don't really understand it, and they're not even into sports that much. I get tired of trying to explain it. They only, like, for the most part, people care about the bottom line is how much you got paid and how much you're going to get paid. It just gets annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, look, yeah, people want to know about how much you got paid, right? Don't realize all the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes. Number one.
Yeah. Well, how much you invested? Like I was saying
that's
earlier.
that's the other thing I was gonna get
all
at.
the driving you was doing. I was like, damn, that's a lot of, bro.
But you look at even yourself. You know, fighters and trainers, right? Time. What are we working for? $1 an hour, maybe? Like if you really break it down.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna get into financials with you, but I know you took fights that didn't pay a lot. Every fighter does.
Yeah, we got to.
All right, yeah. And you know what? People say, "I made that."
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
The average person out there would be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right. Right.
You know, but yeah, you got to do that stuff to build your career and to move on.
Or they say, "Oh man, you got paid." Let's say a number. You got paid $20,000 for that. Oh man, I would do that. But you don't know. You still had to do a real camp for that.
They don't know.
You know.
They don't know if you got a promoter, he's taking a piece.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a manager, he's taking a piece. You pay in your corner, not counting any money you're putting out of your own pocket. So that 20 might be 10 or under 10 real fast.
Yeah.
And that's not paying taxes either. You know, you throw the tax stuff into it, and it's like, yeah, it sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I walked with Trevor. 10. I was like, man, this is crazy. I was like, this is crazy. Afterwards, I'm like, man, I had to do it, though, because I was like, you know what? I don't think they think I'm going to win. So let me go ahead and...
Well, you made a statement.
Yeah.
You know, at least, you know what? You know, no disrespect to him. You dropped his ass, and at least it tasted a little better at the end of the day.
Yeah, well,
you know what? If that fight might have been tight, who knows what would have happened to you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They might have said, oh, you know what? Yeah, thank you very much. And look at the scorecards.
Yeah.
And, you know, you made it to the point where it's like, no, we're not looking at the scorecards.
Yeah, that was, I feel like even we watching that, we watched that like once or twice, and I'm like, that's where it felt like it was leading to in the middle. Like it was saying he was coming back and winning rounds. I'm like, he ain't coming back. He ain't been doing nothing. Like, I'm moving around.
Look, he looked like he had, before the knockout, he looked like he was struggling the whole fight, physically, to stay with you. Like, it was like, it looked like at times you were carrying him.
Yeah.
Throughout the fight.
But I'm coming off a year layoff, and I was a little bit apprehensive on where my stamina would be until the 7th round. I knew, like,
what'd you weigh for that fight? Because you were big for that fight.
I was like 256, 255 for that fight. I was bigger for the Michael Hunter, a little bit for the Michael
because
Hunter.
when we came up with Daniel, you were big.
Daniel.
The hockey player. When you spar with Ings.
Oh, yeah.
You were big.
Yeah, I was probably like 250, 250. I mean.
You were looking like a tight end.
Yeah, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I know I can get there, and I can carry it well. You know what I mean? It just you got to make sure that, stuff organized, man.
So right now you're in between. How are you staying motivated?
And
this is another point that, you know, not to cut you off. This is another point that people don't realize that is very, very hard for fighters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you talk about staying in shape. How? Because you know you can get a call.
Yeah,
the fight can fall out. They're gonna call you, and it might make sense and say, "Hey."
Right now, I'm just angry, man. I'm angry. I'm like, it's weird. I'm like, really. I have a reason to be angry, but I'm just angry, like with just.
You feel like you've been overlooked in the heavyweight division?
I think a little bit, but I think I'm a wild card. I think I'm one of them people that people would be like, we don't know which one can show up. Like, so let's wait and like I wasn't getting after I knocked Trevor out. I wasn't getting all of them like, oh, fight this person take that wasn't happening. But you know, you fight and you look like you did against Michael Hunter, then you get a little bit of, oh, would you take this fight on, you know, for this or for that, you know? But I know I'm like a little bit of a wild card. You know?
Definitely a wild card. I mean, knocked out Trevor. And look, I saw some of those guys on that card in December over in Saudi and trained with them. I mean, there's no reason why your name shouldn't have been thrown out there with some of them.
Yeah, I mean, they got to go through Don. You know, it's
and do you think people, because they got to go through Don, it's hard?
A little bit. And I don't think it's because of him so much. I think it's just because of, his history. He got he understands, he knows boxing, and now that Top Rank is pretty much aligned with the Saudi, and then you got Queensberry. They, it's a lot of barriers there that you kind of got to go through, and
Don's put some of the greatest shows on in boxing.
Yeah, but that's
like if you look at history, like you know what, he put some of the greatest events on out there.
Yeah, history wise, but he's not the younger Don anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't see him being able to travel all the way to Saudi Arabia at 94. Right. So it's a lot of little elements there, but I do feel like I could still etch my way in there. I gotta come off I gotta come back regardless of who is against, regardless of caliber. I gotta come back looking different with a new element to my game. You know what I mean? To my mind and to my game. So
what do you think that is right now? What are you looking to change?
I'm really, like I said,
on a level as a fighter right now, what are you looking to change? Because, man, you got a lot of tools. I mean, from always working with you and working in the gym, you're a smart fighter. You're always learning. You're a technical fighter, and you're kind of awkward for a big guy. You can punch, so we always got to keep that in. But your defense is good. What are you looking to be better at?
I just want to be more, especially consistent with my. Well, first of all, my conditioning can always be better. I think that gives me more confidence to throw more and kind of let loose. But I would say just more consistent overall with my lifestyle as far as being focused on being a fighter. Obviously, with this past fight, I've been allowed to invest it in myself and kind of live a little bit more as a fighter than someone that's trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do that. So
plus you're a father too, so you have responsibility.
Yeah. My girls are younger, so I do feel like if there's a time where I need to go out and be like, yo, make sure I do what I got to do.
Yeah,
it's now because, before I know it, they're gonna be like, yo, Dad, come play basketball with me or whatever, and I'm gonna be like, yo, all right, right now I need to be able to lock in and make the best of what what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah, right now it's the time in your career, and now's the time in the division right now, because there is a lot of uncertainty of what it's changing. We're seeing fighters that have been written off that are winning now and reinventing themselves.
Overnight. Well, not overnight, but you know what I mean. It's like, okay, wow, all right, cool, I can do that. There's people who hate Joshua, people hate Fury. You don't know what Fury is going to come out, if he's going to fight again, if he will, if he doesn't. You don't know what he's going to do. One of the best dudes one of the coolest dudes ever I think I ever met. Oh, besides Ortiz. Ortiz is probably probably the coolest fighter I ever met. Yeah. But Tyson Fury probably up there as far as everyday person. Everyday person. Fun, wild, but cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, his super people, cool. When we were in Vegas, his people were on the floor with us. They're nuts. Yeah. His brother, Tommy Fury, they're out there. Yeah, the cousins are cool too. They took me to a gypsy camp when I was out there. I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. Yeah. And they was just explaining to me, but they just pick up and go. The lifestyle. I was like, yo, this is crazy. But it was like a big party. It was like they just outside cooking out but when they want to go, they pick up and go. It was like at least 30-carat big old trailer vans, living vans. And I was like, what is this? I was the only black person. And that's how he fights. Yeah. Yeah, you don't know what the hell, he wants to fight, he's going to fight. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Yeah. But you know what? What do you see yourself doing after boxing? I have no idea. It's so much, like I said. Trainer? Working with kids. Now, you're always involved with the kids. Would you be a trainer? Boxing trainer or basketball? I know basketball you would, but you're a boxing trainer. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know. Because I think about the time that
trainers put in, and I also think about the fact that it's already it's already in my kids' blood, and I don't want to like influence them to doing it by having to bring them to the gym or them coming.
Yeah.
If they end up doing it, that's different. But I don't want to be the reason. Like now, I gotta focus on them actually doing it. You know, because that's the best way to do it. You know, being a trainer, you know, a parent trainer first, and then kind of you know, but.
Yeah, but you're putting time in as a basketball coach. It's not like, you know what, and you know what? But your experience as a fighter.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you got to think about, like, whether you were a trainer or, you know, an advisor or something, because you have a guy.
I can see that. I can see me being an advisor or manager.
Because you know more. A lot of fighters don't know the back end of the business. You know the back end of the business better than a lot of guys.
Yeah, I can see that, though, being a manager, being a fighter, because I honestly would do right by the fighter.
I'm going to throw a fight out there for you, and I like him, too.
Cool.
Nice guy. Otto Walling.
You know what? That would be a nice fight. That would be a nice fight.
You guys are similar in your career right now.
Yeah. I forgot about Otto for.
Yeah, he just fought a couple weeks ago. He faught an 8-rounder out.
He fought. I know why.
Yeah,
right. He fought. I know why. Yeah. In Atlantic City, was that in Jersey?
I don't know if he fought in Jersey or.
Yeah, that would be a cool fight. I think it would have to be on a proper stage.
Of course.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it on one of them like a lower level show or nothing.
Well, the only thing with him is he's got Dimitri as his promoter. So
I thought he left Dimitri.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's with Fighters First Management now. So he just works with Jolene and
Jolene Mazzone.
Yeah, and what's my man name that did the book Protect Yourself at All Times? AJ? No, it's not AJ. It's you know who I'm talking about.
Not Adrian Clark.
Man. Adrian Clark.
Yeah.
They both part of Fighters First Management, and Otto's one of the fighters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I like Otto and Joey Gamach. Great people. I mean, you know.
Yeah, Joey cool, man. I stayed with Joey. He told you I stayed with him for 3 weeks, him and his wife, and in New York, man. That's what I'm saying about y'all being trainers, man. He was going. Well, I had to go with him, but going on the subway every day to the gym was like, yo.
Which gym were you going to? Bout or Mendez?
Bout. Yeah. And taking 2 trains, bro. I was like, this is crazy. I'm not trying to do this every day.
Otto rides his bike through the city when we train down there.
Yeah,
he was riding his bike. Man.
Yeah, he was riding his bike, man.
Like, you crazy. But you know what? But we're lucky where we're at. Think about it. Okay? Philly, Vegas, Miami, New York, New Jersey. Where else you can fight? Oh, Cali's a little different, but they don't have big fighters. A lot of big heavyweights. Big heavyweights are in those areas right now. Mm-hmm. You think about Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey right now. Think of the fighters that are around here right now. Think of the fighters that are in Connecticut right now. You know, I was talking about this with Chad Dawson. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of high-level fighters we have in this state.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
and people write this state off, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, where you from? Connecticut? Yeah, Connecticut.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't grow up here, so it's different. But you know what? It's home, and it's like, you know, it's really it's interesting to see the fight game going from there. But kind of like finish up right here. I want to ask you a couple questions, put you on the spot here. All right? None crazy.
All right.
None crazy. All right?
All right.
You know, we got a little tradition. First question. If you were in a foxhole, who are you going to put next to you? Who you picking? Dead or alive? I don't care who it is. Who's the person going with you?
Anybody?
Anybody.
Trying to debate. I don't want to be next to a dude in a foxhole, but I'm going to say, man, if I was in a foxhole, I would probably put...
Now, your girls out there, be careful.
If I was in a foxhole, I'm going to be in a foxhole with my daughters.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to be in there with my babies.
All right. I'm going to give you 3 dinner guests. Dead or alive, you want to have dinner with them. Doesn't matter who they are. Who are they?
Oh, man, it's easy right here. I'm going to go with Rich Paul. Alive? Anybody?
Anybody. Alive or dead, anybody.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. So you want to know something? You're the first fighter that I've had on the show that said that. And I honestly, as me, I would pick Muhammad Ali to have dinner with.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali. And I would say, dang, one of the Michaels. One of the Michaels. I don't know. Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan. One of the ones. I mean, I would pick LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan. I'm going to say LeBron. I say LeBron. It's just that it's weird because he, I could end
Who's
up
better?
I can end up running. Between LeBron and Mike?
Yeah, who's better? Well, we can have the argument all day long. Who do you think?
1A, 1B, but my third choice would be Kobe, actually.
You know something? I was never a Kobe fan, but
to have dinner with, I mean.
Reading about him and his style and his tenacity to train and what he did, wow.
Yeah, the Mama Mentality book was fire. I love that book. Yeah.
His whole mentality right across the board. And I'm not taking none from LeBron or Mike. Different people.
Yeah. Yeah, Kobe's one of the people I would have liked, enjoyed to meet because, man, he was, Kobe.
We ever going to see somebody like that again in the NBA? Guys like that? Or is LeBron the last one? That multifaceted of talent, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. Because I think those type of special talents are meant for entertainment.
Yeah.
Steph Curry was meant for entertainment.
Yeah, he can shoot. Huh?
Yeah, greatest shooter. You just meant to, obviously you were groomed for it, but I just think certain guys, certain people are meant for entertainment. And Michael Jackson, he was one of the people that was meant for entertainment.
Captivate an audience.
Yeah, easy,
Reinvented himself.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. Very talented guy. But quick question on, because you're a basketball guy, why is Curry such a great shooter? Guy that looks like in the wind, you blow him over, you push on him and he's going to fall.
Groomed. His dad was a great shooter.
Not like that.
Not like that, but he was groomed early, kind of how to work on his form and the technique. Now, for example, coaching, one of the things I see is kids when they come to the park, and as soon as they get in the gym, and I used to do this, so they shoot threes or they shoot from half court or they want to see how far they can make a basket from. He was groomed early on, start in, and then as he got older, he started shooting threes.
But you know what the thing that mind boggles me? He doesn't have a big body. Mm-mm. He's not a big, tall, compared to these guys today, and he's fearless.
Yeah.
He's fearless. He's like a quarterback staying in the pocket for the last second, and boom, and then that shot goes, and it's like,
yeah. I mean, it's crazy because when he shoots, it's almost like, dang man. When he was going against Cleveland in the finals, every time he shot the ball, I'm like, oh man, it's going in. Come on, LeBron.
I mean, just watching him in the Olympics, man, the other night.
Yeah, that was great. And the line is shorter, so you already know it's a layup for him.
Yeah,
it's a layup.
He's firing from the bench. Well, Cassius, thank you again for coming on. I know it was a little bit of a ride. We've been trying to get this together. I wish you a lot of luck in what comes up. We're a big fan, and you know where we are if we ever could do anything. I want to thank our sponsors, Nirvana, my guy Get Elevated for the gear, and we'll catch you on the next Coach's Corner.